2 months is too little. They let him go. They had no sudden healing. To think that Providence would take a child from his mother while she prays is appalling. Who told us we'd be rescued? What has changed and why should we be saved from nightmares? We're asking why this happens to us who have died to live. It's unfair. This is what it means to be held, how it feels when the sacred is torn from the light and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be held. This hand is bitterness. We want to taste it, let the hatred numb our sorrow. The wise hand opens slowly to lilies of the valley, and tomorrow. This is what it means to be held, how it feels when the sacred is torn from your life and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be held. If hope is born of suffering, if this is only the beginning, can we not wait for what our watching for our Savior? This is what it means to be held, how it feels when the sacred is torn from your life and you survive. This is what it is to be loved and to know that the promise was when everything fell, we'd be
Each and every one of you for being here today. I want to thank incredible the turnout and how many people came to honor my son's life, and it means so much to me and my husband, and I want to thank you guys all so much. It's really surreal. It really feels like a dream. All this feels like a dream. It's surreal. It's hard to grasp. But I actually want to take this opportunity to shine light on some of the people that have been there with us from the beginning, that we couldn't have done this without helpers. You know, it takes a village to raise a child. It really took a village with Michael. And so I want to acknowledge my sister. She has been an incredible sister. She's been there for me in so many ways, has been my psychiatrist, my business manager. She orchestrated all this, everything. She's been there for Michael, had a very close friendship with Michael, was there in his dying days. She is absolutely incredible, and I thank God for you. I want to thank my husband. I know that you have regrets, and I have regrets, but you've been there for our family from the beginning, And daddies leave families for much smaller reasons, but you've been there from the beginning. And we couldn't have done this without you. And I know Michael was always so grateful that we stayed together, and that stability that brought him, he was always so grateful for that. So I love you, babe. This is very hard for me. I want to acknowledge two of the nurses that were there for Michael from the very beginning, Kim and Annette. Are you here? Kim, do you want to come up? Do you want to say anything?
Do it. Do it.
Come. I want everybody to see who you are. When Michael, when we first brought Michael home from the hospital, she was the first nurse to bring him home. And as you can imagine, as a young mom, having to deal with all that went along with his care, she was there. She was there with me every day and helped me through all of it. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without you. So, do you want to say anything?
All I can say is that I love the Hayes family so much. I had just moved here from Missouri, and I had no family here except for my own. And this special little boy just appeared, and I got to love on him and be part of Christina's early years. And they were not without challenge and not without fear, but he lit up the room and we loved him, and little by little he grew and his personality came out, and we spent a lot of time together doing a lot of things. He was just a joy. And after working with him when he turned 5, I was very grateful that the Hayes were still in our life. And Bryce got to meet his best friend and spend a lifetime with him. So, and we're gonna miss him very much.
Okay, so this is Ethan, Antonio, Thomas, Bryce. These boys amaze me. They've been there for Michael, down to the very last day. When Michael was getting really weak, he would require a wheelchair in order to be pushed around, and they'd pick him up and take the wheelchair and take him to the mall and made it fun for him so that he could have he could have his best life for as long as possible. And so I will always be grateful to you guys for what you did. And if you have any stories, I know there's stories. Who's going to be brave and share a story?
I'll go first. Like she said, I've got a story to tell. I was friends with Michael for quite a long time, since middle school. I think that's when I met him. You and I both met him. We were doing graduation practice at Oregon City down at the stadium. And we had, as you know, Michael's condition in his lungs. He wasn't able to breathe as easily, and so we were able to walk down this long hill to get to the stadium. But he turned to me, he's like, "I'm not going to be able to make it up, Naz. Can you carry me?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I will." And so I carried him up this super steep hill all the way back up to the bus. And when we finally sat down on the bus and he finally caught his breath, we both looked at each other and we kind of decided in that moment that it was no longer a friendship, it was a brotherhood. And I wanted to thank Michael's family for returning that trust and allowing me into their lives. Michael's really changed my life immensely because of that.
Oh yeah, I've known Michael, like Nat said, since middle school. Did a lot of projects together in school and everything. Got really close to Michael. And change of events here, I got a pretty funny story, I guess, from Michael. It was during the summer. We were out in Portland, riding, you know, the Lime scooters around. We took a little day trip, did all that. Michael brought his own personal scooter, and just riding around the area, downtown Portland, North Portland, around that area. We were coming around the Moda Center, and there was a big old curve right there. We all make the curve. Michael was in the very back, and we all look back and just see him in a bush. Because apparently one of our other buddies he pressed on the brake too hard and he bumped into him, went flying straight headfirst into a bush, and yeah, we took a little break after that and got back, but yeah, it's a story we'll always remember because it's one of the last times that we really could do something like that with Michael before his condition got worse, so yeah.
Greatest guy I probably all known, but I mean it's literally hard to hit me. But I remember going on Microsoft Flight Sim and flying with him a lot, but this will hit me hard for sure. Greatest guy I ever knew, honestly speaking.
Hey everybody, for those who don't know me, I'm Brody, and I actually met Michael through Thomas quite a while ago, and I would say one of the best times with Michael was I was with him, yes, I'm so sorry. Me and Thomas and Michael were on a extensive train trip to Seattle together, and the whole time I was with him, we would just talk, share stories with each other, and he was just a very wise person. And from the short time I've known him, he has impacted me in so many ways. I'm gonna miss him very much. I love you, Michael.
My name is Bryce. I was his friend for 14 years. I can't really think of a specific memory. I can speak of multiple, just like how we kind of hang out and like the things he taught me. We would talk a lot, just about deep things. Things like heaven and like the Bible and theology, and I didn't really have anyone else to talk about those deep questions, and you know, I really enjoyed our talks, and you know, he knew a lot and he taught me a lot, especially like, you know, when I wasn't really a practicing Christian, he brought me back. Just there's this one story. We were at my mom's house in Estacada, a block from our a block from our house. We were at the cemetery there to go look at the tombstones, and he asked me what I think happens when we pass away, and I told him I don't know, but I hope that I go somewhere good. And he told me that death, that it wasn't originally God's intent, and that because Adam sinned against God, that death entered the world, and that anyone who repents of their sins, they will receive mercy from God. And that was the moment where I started to take things seriously, and I always thank him for that.
Dr. McCloskey is not here today, but I have to mention her. She's in Idaho and she couldn't make it, and she was very sad about that. But Dr. McCloskey was Michael's pediatrician from the time that he was an infant, and she was there for Michael in an extraordinary way. You know, she would go to our house. He was so fragile that she would actually come to our house to help care for him. And then once he was strong enough to go to the doctors, I would call the same day, and she'd have us in a few hours, and she'd have us in the office without having us wait. She just went above and beyond for us from the beginning to end, and she's a dear, dear friend of mine, and I'm just so grateful for her, and so I want her to know that. Another person that is that I want to acknowledge is Linda Johansson. Linda Johansson is an aunt in our family. Where is she? She's very special to us. She's a little prayer warrior. She has rounded everybody up and is always sending out, asking people to pray, and she has been there for us for so many years, and I am so grateful for it. Do you want to come up and say anything? She's amazing. So we're grateful for her. And really, there's God has blessed us with so many friends, so many people reaching out to me, so many. I've just been so blessed, and you know, Terry, Lucinda, Linda, so many of you. You've been there for me, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you. So thank you so much. And yes, you're wonderful too.
My name is Lindy Hafman, and Miss Lindy. And Michael, for me, never had he didn't have a lot of time for the jibba jabba. He was serious. And so I'm a fifth grade teacher at Christ the King, and I taught many years at St. John the Apostle. And as Michael started to, his suffering got more intense, and I could ask him to pray. He was an intercessor. He's an intercessor now. I'm kind of like having a hard time. There's such a joy in my heart. I'm sad for the loss, but I'm not experiencing tragedy in my heart. I'm not tragic, because the limits that he had here on earth, he never wasted one iota of his suffering. Never. There was nothing wasted. And there's so many times when I could ask him, I go, I need you to pray for this, Michael, if you got it. I mean, it was just, that's what it was like with him. And that wisdom that he had that came from that suffering. I think about like Carlos Acutis, when St. Carlos Acutis, when all this was going down, not so good. I prayed to St. Carlos Acutis. I said, you got to fix this. You know, you guys are buddies up there right now. I am so happy for Michael. I'm sad for our loss. I know that I'm going to say something personal about my husband, but my husband and I, he's not Catholic, I'm Catholic, and we hadn't really started praying together. But when this started happening with Michael and all that, we started praying together every night because it was you guys, it was Michael and the Hayes family. And now it's one of the most precious things we do every night is we're able to hold hands. And I know that is Michael. He was a unifier. He has united us in our marriage. He's united all of us. I'm so proud to have been a part of your life and his life, and I'm going to keep praying to him for help, because he's not done. He is not done, people. He is not done. He's just beginning. So tap into him, because he's got all those graces, all that power, that prayer power that he got from that suffering, and he's ready.
Okay, I wanted to do a little speech, but I didn't get time to do it. And I just wanted to share with you guys something that's on my heart that I want you guys to take with you too. I want you to take Michael with you today. I had the honor of taking care of him with my sister and my brother-in-law for the last 3 weeks that he was alive. Sorry, this is gonna be really hard. And we were flooded with visitors. It was amazing. Like, I can't even describe to you this experience that I had with my sister and my brother and Michael. And it got to the point where we had to have a schedule. And everybody that came through the room, Michael had something for you. He had something to say. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And what really caught my attention with it was we'd have a room full of 10, 15 people, and there might be a child that came with one of the family members, and he would call them out and ask them, "How are you?" He's in pain, he's dying, and he would ask everybody. He had something to say to everyone. And and we talked about this day. You know, Michael and I talked about this day many times, and that we hoped and prayed that he would be here and that God would allow him to join us and be here with us today. And so I believe he's here. And one of the things that I want you guys to know is that Michael notices everyone in the room, and he sees every single one of you. And I know we talk about suffering, and we talk about how Michael suffered in like the general sense for general people. All of you are so special to Michael, and he suffered for each and every one of your souls. And because of him, we all have this most amazing prayer war in heaven fighting for us.
Okay, I am member of the Lay Dominican with Margaret, and of course Margaret loved Michael dearly. I know because of the times that he went through all the surgery, all that through, I would know by Margaret, and I did not know Michael personally, but through Margaret, it's like I knew Michael, or I know Michael. And so that's how powerful it is with Michael, in the sense of him being, in unity with the Holy Trinity and the Lord. So, but this week before Michael passed away, I had gone to a pilgrimage to Our Lady of Guadalupe to pray for Michael. Then I got to know that Michael passed away. And then my close friend, one of my closest friends, had a stroke. But the way it was, he was close to the hospital running, and this just happened. That's why I feel the duty to say this. And then that was just the day Michael passed away. Michael went to God, to heaven. And so I don't doubt he's in heaven too, and all that. And so what it is that I was just shocked, and knowing that it's a drain and the blood a bit, but well, I was just, no, this cannot be happening. And I went to Holy Rosary and I say, wait a minute, Michael just passed away. I just came. And so I asked him for the miracle. I say, Michael, you are like St. Carlos Acutis. I really thought of that. And I said, you are going to, in the name of Guadalupe and Our Lady Mother Mary, and as I pray the rosary here, please, please, make a miracle. Hours later, believe it or not, went from this draining, blood, whatever, not going to go through all the details, to a stroke, to, no, she's leaving the hospital today. She just has to go through physical therapy because of her face being a little bit. And I knew that was Michael.
Erica Barber, I don't know if any of you guys have seen Michael's interview with George Fox University professor Erica Barber. It's a great interview. But
it is. It's on YouTube. And it is on a podcast. You can hear it, but I love the YouTube version because you can see Michael smile. And, okay, first off, apology. I was part of the visitor hospital schedule. And I came at a time when it was busy, and the hospital caregivers, I think, had a list of things they needed to do. So I knew to be brief. But Michael is so lucid, and he was sharing such beautiful things. I couldn't cut it off. So I just want to apologize for taking a long time. I teach at George Fox. And at this university, we strive for what we're learning intellectually in science and the other subjects where we get to learn, to not separate that from what we can't observe with our senses, which is God, and mysteries that we can't see or hear or smell. So this integration of science and faith. And sometimes it's the student who's the teacher. And that became very obvious as soon as I met Michael, that he saw the world and the mysteries of this world and truths, not strictly academically or theoretically, but he saw God and his goodness integrated into everything that he was learning, even when he didn't have all the answers. We don't know why to a lot of the questions we have. But Michael trusted God's character, even with the answers with the questions he didn't have the answers to. And so I loved just asking Michael questions. I loved letting him be the teacher, and I cherished every conversation. And I can't wait to read more of what he wrote. I know he journaled a lot and he wrote a lot, and but I already know a huge way that he's changed me, and that's in my prayer life. I asked Michael in the interview, what do you do on the hard days? I know sometimes physically it gets really hard. What do you do when it's trouble breathing? And he said, without a beat, I pray the rosary. And in my head I'm thinking, really? You're so smart and intellectual. I would think you would like do a quick prayer, but then like go read something. And isn't the rosary, in my head I'm thinking, isn't the rosary kind of rote and repetitive? And really, that's what you do? And so I let him be my guide in that. And I started to pray the rosary every day ever since that interview with Michael. And now I get it. That he was focusing his mind on the truths that Christ has presented to us of himself in the Bible. And he was letting that be his focus over and over every day. And it wasn't about that academic intellectual stimulation. He was brilliant, but that's not the top aim. His top aim was to be with Christ and abide with him in prayer. And then I remember him telling me, Emily, that also on the hard days, every single morning he could hear through the wall you praying the rosary without fail. And it gave him courage, like, okay, no matter what happens today, my mom's praying the rosary. We're gonna get through this day. And so I'm grateful already for how he's changed my prayer life, and I'm grateful to meet others who have been changed by him.
I'm the Hayes' adopted auntie, my husband Lawrence, adopted uncle, and thank you for what you said. But there is no St. Michael of Oregon City without St. Emily and St. Brian of Oregon City. And I didn't know Michael that well. We were not as close as Christina and I, or even Maddie and I. I'm her godmother. But I know you, and I could not do what you did without some sort of supernatural grace, that you don't have that with one child, 2 children, and keep it all together for that long with Grandma Margaret and Grandma Cecilia and the grandpas. My mind is blown by what they have done with a hard hand of cards, and the faith that they have showed me on how to stop complaining, quit, no pity parties, and if I could pull it off, I'd be a real saint myself, but I'm still learning from them. And so what I have seen you guys do in the face of all this, it's a good thing God didn't do that to me, because I don't even have any children except you guys. And so I always used to think when I first met you, well, if I were 17, she could be my daughter. So I'm pro-life, I kind of considered you kind of like a daughter, and Christina like a granddaughter, and Michael like a grandson, and Maddie, my first godchild, my favorite. So I wanted to put the light on the mama bear who fought for this boy's life for 20 years straight, for Christina, for everything you got from hospitals, from clinics, from insurance companies, whatever you guys did, you did it with supernatural power, and I have learned so much from you parents. I just am in awe. So let's hear it for Brian and Emily.
Hi, I'm Teresa. So I've known the Hayes family since Silas went to school with Maddie in the kindergarten, so it's been a long time, about 10 years. Honestly, I never got to know Michael very well. I met him 3 times, and every time I had no idea that he had anything wrong with him, to be honest. I just thought he was short. Okay, so like his mom. Anyways, so hearing about his end of life through going to church at SJA one time, and I contacted Emily, and I was devastated. I didn't know that this was even going on in your family, had no clue. So the strength of Emily and Brian and the girls is amazing to me, all of you guys, you included, because if you go through life, and a lot of people would just complain about their life and complain about how their family is suffering from dealing with all the hospital. I had no idea. I watched Michael's interview that you sent me in August, and I thought everything was fine. I had no idea that there was a problem at all. Anyways, when I texted Emily right away, and then when she texted me that he had passed, I wrote to her, and I'm going to read to you this little exchange that we had between me and her. This is
You need to ask for permission.
Stop. This is from you. This is what you wrote back to me. this is very important, I think.
Okay, you can read that part. Just this part right here.
Okay. So I can't read what I wrote?
No, just this part.
Okay. So, killing me, really? But you're so cool. Okay, but anyways, so I had texted her and basically explaining kind of the same things that other people here have been saying about Michael, his effect on everybody in their prayer life. Our life has been changed just in a couple of weeks in knowing his suffering. And so now anytime anything bad happens in our house, I'm like, think of Michael. What would he be saying, you know? And so in the end, what I wrote to Emily is private, but she did write back, and she said, when I was by his bedside, sobbing in agony, he pulled me close to himself and said, in this life, I played the role of Jesus, and you, Mother Mary. Great will be our reward. Don't you worry, Mom. I will be your advocate in heaven. And thinking about that, you know, the parents suffer along with the kids, and to be able to, I don't know how you do it. I really don't know how you did it at all, and still doing it, and holding yourselves together. Where is Brian? He's hiding over there. Anyways, so I just wanted to share that with you, that he was thinking along those lines, that, you know, here's my mom, being like Jesus' mom. She's there at the foot of the cross all the way to the end with this love in his heart and saying, I'm going to be your advocate in heaven. But I just want to share that with you guys, because that's really, I think it really is so important to remember this person was around us, and I honestly think he's going to be around us for a long time, and that he is able to hear our requests, our prayers, and that there's more coming for him. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I've had the pleasure of knowing the Hayes family for a while and being another adopted auntie. I just wanted to share some words of wisdom that Michael passed on to me, and I wanted to share with you guys too. I also spent many nights with him in the hospital and was with them a lot the last 3 weeks as well. There's one time a doctor came in and he was announcing who everybody was to the family, and he turns to his dad, Brian, and this really spoke to me. Because I'll be honest, I'm a crier. I don't do well with loss in this process, but Michael had called Brian his old man, and that was the first time he did that. And Brian made a comment about getting gray hairs and getting old and back creaking when he wakes up. And Michael says, this huge smile on his face, he goes, no, that's great, Dad. Celebrate every gray hair and every day you wake up, because it's one day closer to being with Michael and in heaven. And that really gave me a different view on how beautiful it can be. And so that just really stuck with me. And a lot of the messages you're hearing about, listen to Michael and see Michael. And I'll be honest, I'm not super Jesus-y or Catholic-y, but before all of this, I had felt, called to do different. And I just really encourage all of you guys, if you're feeling that, whether it was before or today, just listen to it. And if he's knocking on your door and calling to you, then, like other people have said, Michael's suffering has also given us the gift to appreciate that we have these lungs and these bodies that we can use here today on earth. And so if you're being called to that, I just say listen to it and read into that, because I know I've been feeling it the last 2 months, and I think I just really felt things come home today. So yeah, that's it.
Not a lot of you know me. I was one of the guys that went with Father Aaron to meet Michael, and I only met him twice. And in those 2 hours, a few hours that I've met him in all, he's changed my life like radically. And so it was at our Cenaculos each month we do a work of mercy, and that month it was the praying for the living or the sick. It was for the sick. And Father Aaron emailed me saying, hey, Angelo, I think you're a good guy to go for this situation. There's a guy, a college student, who's suffering. He's slowly dying. He's got a cancer that has to involve his ribs and his lungs. And there'll be some other guys coming with us. Would you like to come with us? And I was like, sure, I'll do it. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really know much about this cancer or anything. And so I got up to his house. I actually drove Father Aaron there too. And we walked in, and I already was like, whoa, this is like something special in this family. Because like wherever you go in their house, I didn't go everywhere in their house, but wherever you went, there was some relic, a cross, a picture of the Holy Family. There was something holy on every single wall in that house. And I saw Michael, and he looked almost, to me, I was like, oh, I thought he would be like a little bit like worse, or something would be more off. But there he looked normal. He looked happy. He looked like he was living the life he wanted. And so we talked, we read, Father Aaron read a Bible passage, and then we talked about it, and like he was saying stuff that I was like, whoa, this guy's like, he's deep. This guy really, really loves God, and he's got a great passion for it. And so I got to talk to him, and at the beginning, like, I looked at him and was like, oh, he seems like he's good in that. But then he told me stories of like how he fought his battle with his lungs, and how he could barely breathe through them. And in high school, he told me that like he didn't want to bring an oxygen tank with him wherever he went. So like multiple times when his mom came to pick him up, he'd be like blue in the face, and his mom would be like, you need like an oxygen tank, you need help. And he was like, no, I'm good, Mom, I got this. And so I was like, this guy's like hardcore. This guy, I want to be like this guy. And so I went back home. I was like, I'm already praying for this guy. I told my grandma and grandpa, my grandma praises the rosary every single day. And she started praying rosaries for him. And a lot of people in my family, actually I told everyone in my family about him, and they started praying for him and that. And so then life went on. And I was like, okay, I might never see him again. And one week, it was a Wednesday before Thursday where we meet up at Senacula with all our other teenagers. And I'd been dealing with some sins, and like I was struggling, and I was in our garage like doing my workout and doing that, and I was just like, God, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I'm struggling with this, and I know Michael is like struggling. I'm like, I was keeping him in mind. I was like, I know if Michael can do it, so can I. And I emailed Father Aaron like, hey, can I do a confession? Can I talk with you at Senaculo? And he was like, yeah, of course, sure. And he was like, actually, Angelo, I'm setting up to go see Michael again. And I was like, oh, dang, this is a coincidence. And Father Aaron told me he's getting worse and he's dying. I was like, shoot, that hurts. And I was like, I'm struggling, I'm sinning. I was like, I don't know if I can go see this guy. Like, who am I to go see him who's like so holy and like almost a saint? And I went with him, and I was like, I don't know about this. Like, what do I say? And we went back, and God gives us all challenges in life. We all have our obstacles, and God gives them to us for a reason. He knows we can get past them, and that's why he gives them to us. Because he knows if we give ourselves to him, we can get through anything. And Michael was a great model of that, and for me, because God wants us to get through the obstacle. He gives us the obstacle, but he knows we can get through it because he gives us that, and he knows that without him, we wouldn't be able to. And that brings me to something that Father Aaron, when I went back with him that time, we're like, Michael, is there anything you want to tell us, an advice? And he was like, stay close to God, stay close to Jesus. Because honestly, he told me like straight, like he looked me in the face and he was like, if I didn't have God, I probably would have taken my life way back. And I was like, dude, this is like, this is something. This guy's gonna be a saint. And that's why God gives us an obstacle, is because he knows we can get through it with him. And I'm already asking, I'm praying that he can help me, because I already know he's up in heaven. And if he's in purgatory, he's gonna be up there in like very soon, like super quick. I already know he's up there, and I've been asking for prayers and that, and he's changed my life. And everyone at Cenaculo, we actually have some other people from Cenaculo that are here, that are over there at the table. And I actually had to do the testimony at the Cenaculo for it too, and multiple people came up to me and were like, dude, when's his funeral? Like, when can I pray for him and all that? And so he's changed more lives than now he can see it all and what he's done, but he's changed so many people's lives. And thank you, Mrs. Hayes and Mr. Woods, for your son and changing my life and everyone's here's life. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you to Michael and to your whole family for how much you've changed our life and what an inspiration you've been. The strength that it takes to bear these crosses. Emily would repeatedly say, it's not me, it's Christ. But you have to say yes as well. And what it takes to repeatedly say yes over and over and over this many times for this big of a cross is such an inspiration. It's just a beautiful thing that has been added to our life and my family, and I hope everyone around you. There's been so many people touched, and sometimes it is not easy to say that yes, and yet you guys repeatedly said that over and over and over. So I just really wanted to acknowledge that yes that you guys are always saying.
I've been waiting for breakthrough. I've been praying for change. I know you work it out for good, but how long will it take? I've been asking for healing, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready for the miracle. God, let it be this time. But if I never see the promise on this side of the grave, my hope might be shaken, but my faith will never break. Because I know the day is coming when you right all of the wrong. So I'll praise you in the waiting, and my faith will stay strong. Yeah. Ooh. God, you taught me to trust you. You show me how to believe. You're the author and the finisher of what you started me. So I'm not gonna doubt it, I'm gonna hold on to peace. Cause if I have you and nothing else, I still have everything. Cause if I never see the promise on this side of the grave, my hope might be shaken, but my faith will never break. Because I know the day is coming when you right all of the wrong. So I'll praise you will stay strong. I'll count it joy when I am tested, 'cause you bring beauty from my pain. It's never wasted. But if I never see the promise on this side of the grave, my hope might be shaken, but my faith will never break. Because I know the day is coming when you right all of the wrong. So I praise you in the waiting, and my faith will stay strong. Because I know the day is coming when you right all of the wrong. So I praise you in the waiting, and my faith will stay strong, will stay strong.
From darkness and clothe me in garments of praise. Jesus, forever my song will be. Yeah, I'm living in freedom. You've taken my burdens away. Jesus, forever my song will be only for you. For the cross that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing. I will not be silent. Oh, I'll testify of your grace. Jesus, forever my song will be you, only for you. For the cross that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing. Yeah. So good, so good. You're so good to me. Forever I'll sing. You're so good to me. Yeah, so good, so good. You're so good to me. Forever I'll sing. You're so good to me. Yeah. For the cross that you bore and the debt that you paid, for the victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. Oh, this is the reason I sing, for the cross victory you won over death and the grave. This is the reason I sing, for the hope that you give and the joy that you bring, for the promise that heaven is waiting for me. This is the reason I sing. Yeah, Jesus, the reason I sing. This is the reason I sing.
You are under arrest. Your right to remain silent. Anything you say will be used against you as court of law. Do you understand?